Hi, Matt with eTrailer. If you have a 2024 Jeep Grand Wagoneer and you're wanting something that's going to look pretty nice on the back of your vehicle, is going to give you that extra security and is easy to work with, then the Kuat Piston Pro X bike rack is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. Now you saw earlier we did have some lights on the back of this, and that's where you're getting that extra security, but we'll jump into that later on in the video. What I really want to talk about is how our bike or rack is going to interact with our vehicle. So with the bike we have on here, this is an extra large mountain bike, and even if you're on those really bumpy roads, we're not going to make contact with our vehicle. There's plenty of room to spare. Now if this was a little bit shorter, we'd be a little bit closer, but these handlebars are pretty wide and we're still not making contact. And this is going to have a weight capacity of 67 pounds per bike, so it can even handle those pretty heavy e-bikes. But that's really not going to reflect in the tilt really much. If I pull on this lever and just kind of let this tilt back, you can tell we have a pretty good tilt. Now the one thing with the Grand Wagoneer is that lift gate is pretty large. So when I open this up, we're barely just going to clear. And what I honestly recommend doing is just pulling on your bike just a little bit so we do clear. And you can see we got a little bit of contact there, so I'd recommend maybe pulling on a little bit more. But this is going to grant you access to the back of your vehicle. So if you plan on doing any grocery shopping or maybe getting ready for your bike ride, like tying your shoes or grabbing your helmet, you can do that now. And when you're ready, you can come over here and just press this button to lower it in place. Again, just kind of pull on this. Now if you have some extra large pedals, they might not clear, but if you have something like a road bike, you should clear most of the time. And from here, we can put it back into the seated position. All you have to do for that is lift up on the rack until it clicks into place. Now, it might be a little bit heavier, especially if you do have those heavy e-bikes on here. But we're going to take a closer look at this rack. I'm going to take off my bike. So where I like to start is with the back side. Now, we're going to just have to press a button. That's going to release. Once that's released, I can just push on that arm. It'll get out of my way. Now you can have the option to push it all the way down too. Same thing on the front side. Click, release, push down, and from here I'm just lifting up on the bike, pulling it towards me. Now keep in mind I am picking this up pretty high, and if you have those heavy e-bikes, I'd recommend maybe checking out some of the ramps you can get with this. And we have this in the lowest position, because with the Wagoneer you can actually raise the height of your vehicle. So if you have this raised up, that's going to be an extremely high lift. And before you drive off, just make sure you put this back up. All you have to do is lift up on these arms, but you'll notice this isn't moving. Actually, you have to press that button again if I have it in that lowest position, and it will ratchet back into place. Same thing for the other side. Now, once I get these put back, I can get a few measurements. And the first measurement I'm going to get is going to be the total height this sits from the ground. Like I said, this is sitting pretty high off. So going for the furthest point out, that's going to be 29 inches. So compared to other vehicles, this is extremely high. You're never going to really bottom out. The biggest thing is thinking about how high you're lifting your bikes. And that's why I recommend using this with a ramp if you have any heavy e-bikes. Now for how far it's going to stick out, that's really not going to be too far at all. And that's going to be from our back bumper to the back of the carrier, just about a little bit over 26 inches, which is pretty compact for a 2-bike carrier, but we can save more space if you don't have any bikes on here. I'm just going to pull that lever, same one as earlier. I'll fold up just like this, and then it's only going to stick out just about 13 inches. And when it's folded up here, it's going to look pretty nice. And what I mean by that is it's not going to block much. So the main thing it will block will be your backup camera. Now you might be able to see a little bit off to the sides and above it, but it will mostly be obstructed, so I'd recommend just sticking to using your back windows or your mirrors. Now your license plate will be mostly unobstructed. It's still visible, and your taillights won't be obstructed. Now if you have the 4-bike version of this, which is another great thing if you want to go out with your whole family, this is going to sit up a lot higher, and it's going to block a little bit of your back window, and it's definitely going to block your taillights. And that's why those lights that are built into this are so nice. And these are actually going to just use your existing 4-pole wiring, so you don't have to get anything to get this to work on the back of your vehicle. But let's take a closer look at that wiring. So if I put my rack down, you can see how this is snaking around. Now we actually have an extender here to make sure we can actually reach our port here on the side. That's what's giving us power. And while we're down here, we might as well talk about how this is going to install. So we're going to have this 2-inch shank that goes into your 2-inch hitch receiver. Then you're going to have a pin that goes through and connect to a lock core. That lock core is just going to give you extra security so no one can take your rack. And if we go to the front of this, if I fold this back up, we're going to have this included key that has a little storage spot on your rack. Kind of nice because it's going to be less likely of losing it. But the way this is going to work is you just come down here and you're going to have this bolt here that you just tighten up. And this is going to be your anti-rattle device, giving us a better fit overall. Now, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of great options for the Grand Wagoneer, but this is probably going to be one of my top choices. Just because how it looks back here is just a cleaner finish compared to some other options around. Now, the Ceres MHS is another great option. What's nice about that is it's going to be more modular, and it's going to have a higher weight capacity. And it's going to, you can get a ramp with it that's going to be a little bit longer, so really transporting your bikes on here won't be as difficult. Now, another option I'd recommend would be the Thule Epos Bike Rack. And what I like about that one is it's just going to be an easier storage option if you don't want something that's going to live full time in the back of your vehicle. But in my opinion, I really don't mind how this looks back here, and it's not going to take up much space at all. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's one of the top choices for me. But this is just a look at the Kuat Piston Pro X Bike Rack on the back of our 2024 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.